Okay, it's Saturday, March 12th. I'm in the center of Lviv. I think we're okay to film outdoors here. It's just a touristic area. Nothing is getting compromised. So last night we had a 2-hour air raid siren around 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock in the morning. I actually slept through it again. Maybe I need to take the glass off the windows or the curtains off the windows. It's a bit hard to hear it, but the nearby town Lutsk, the airport was completely destroyed. So I think that's what it was about. That wasn't so far away, but that was done with cruise missile attack. So I'm not sure if our time is coming soon here, but it looks like in the West at least they're just targeting the airports and not targeting civilians yet. We don't know if the Russians are crazy. They've really lost their shit. What amazes me even more is these pro-Russian protests and these pro-Russian supporters like the Serbians, supporting Russia. I mean, this was a country that was going on the wrong track. They were doing genocide. I mean, they weren't completely guilty. The genocide was two ways between them and the Albanians, but they were the ones who got caught. And they had a more belligerent leader, Milosevic. And so this was like a little bit over 20 years ago. So the Americans did a 78-day bombing campaign and basically bombed them into submission. And now Serbia is on track to being part of Europe. I don't know why any Serbians would support Russia. Do they really want to go backwards? I mean, they're almost in the EU now. And I know it's not the government, it's just some people, but those said people are probably enjoying a European lifestyle that they would never enjoy under a post-Soviet or Soviet type regime. So it's a little bit strange. Another thing that, I don't know, we're seeing a lot of passivity from the West, and I know they're sending a lot of weapons and they're doing some antics, Japan is talking about taking back the Sakhalin Islands. We had a general the other day on TV on Fox talking about, let's take Kaliningrad. But there's a bit of passivity on the Western side. America has to remember they have nuclear weapons too. When Trump told North Korea that he also has a red button and his is bigger and works better and works more reliably, it made them shit their pants. Made North Korea shit their pants, made the whole world shit their pants. And I wish we could see Joe Biden telling Vladimir Putin, we have nuclear weapons too, and we can destroy your whole civilization and wipe out the Russian people. Why doesn't he say that? It would at least make it profound that, he's willing to go to all lengths, to protect Western civilization. Because that's really what's at stake here is Western civilization. If Russia succeeds in getting eastern Ukraine, they get a third of the grain supply in the world, and then they get access to the Black Sea oil if they succeed in the south. And the Black Sea oil is a huge oil field, so they can have resource leverage over Africa for food, India for energy, and they can really pull some big players into their poll, and that would really, really weaken the West, and our standard of living would go down a lot. It's already, we're in a wartime mode now, so things are a bit hard, but it'll be even harder, and we'll just, it would just be a big messy situation. So if they can't do the no-fly zone, I hope they can send more anti-air missiles and tie up the Russian Air Force by doing more deployments in Japan, and get some talk going about taking back the Sakhalin Islands, get some talks going about taking Kaliningrad, and just at least have them on guard and tie up their forces and tie them up. And I really do think the U.S. should, U.S. or NATO or Moldova with the backing of NATO should take over this Transnistria. This is an abomination. I don't know what the right word is, but it's an abomination to allow such a place to even exist. To let some shithead dictator get away with that. To have like a little breakaway region. They ought to just close that. It's not even an official country. Russia doesn't even recognize it, but it would send a message that. And I don't think it would escalate to a nuclear war. That's not a World War III trigger. That would just piss the Russians off, but it wouldn't be a trigger. So yeah, that would be something they should do. It's a nice day in central Lviv, a little bit on the cold side, but yeah, it's getting better. We're just, everyone's anxious about what's going on in Kiev. There's a lot of mixed news. It looks like the Battle of Kiev has already begun. You know, the 40-mile column is broken up and dispersed into villages. And so there's a guy over there, street performer. The center of Lviv is always interesting this way. So yeah, the Battle of Kiev has started, but it looks like the Ukrainians have gotten a lot of wins, and there's still a lot of the same supply issues. But we cannot hope for a ceasefire in a way. A ceasefire would mean then the Russians would just stay where they're at, and then they would just build up and resupply and reoccupy. So we got to keep them dancing, you know, because that's what happened in 2014. They just took some territory and used that as a basis for launch. I mean, they launched a whole southern campaign from Crimea. So they can't go for a ceasefire this time. They have to go for a complete victory. That's the arguments that I've been discussing with people today. And so it's going to be a long time. This is going to be a long, drawn-out slog, as one would say. Well, that's all I got for today. You know, I'm going to try to make the best of this day and everything. You can see our nice buildings here and all that. It's a nice place. You should come and visit. Take care. Bye-bye.